Welcome to NIMASA This Week with me, your captain, Cordelia Ogbe. This is your guide to the maritime sector here in Nigeria. And talking about the maritime sector, the various heads of the various agencies in the maritime sector had a meeting recently. It was a high-flying meeting. We'll get to share with you some of the things they talked about during that session. There was a working visit by the Committee on Maritime Security Transit Corridor to the NIMASA headquarters. What they talked about, we'll share with you too. Recently, we've had accidents on board vessels here in Nigeria and other parts of the world too. It's a sad thing to happen, but yes, accidents do happen. There is a process to investigation of accidents in the maritime sector. How it happens, we'll be sharing the process with you. All on NIMASA This Week. Again, I'll say welcome and please sit back, relax and enjoy the show.
Do you know who a seafarer is? Seafarers are the people who make the world go round. Seafarers are people who have been employed to work on ships. They ensure smooth sailing of the ship while making sure that goods and services get to us from every part of the world. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, this set of people are still working for the benefit of everyone. Wow! Let us celebrate these special people as they are the people who truly make the world go round. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA.
Now let's start off from this very important note where chief executives of the various maritime agencies in the Nigerian maritime sector had a meeting. And this inaugural meeting was a big one because they are coming together is to look at how they can collaborate to enhance productivity in that sector. In attendance were the chief executives of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, the Nigeria Ports Authority, NPA, the Nigerian Shippers Council, NSC, Maritime Academy of Nigeria, Oron, MAN, and also Nigeria Inland Waterways.
Some weeks ago, the Nigerian maritime industry witnessed concerted efforts towards collaboration by government agencies when the managing director of the NPA paid a working visit to the headquarters of NIMASA. Barely 3 weeks after, the collaboration has now grown into an industry-wide approach as chief executives of 5 agencies of government had an inaugural meeting. While NIMASA Director General Dr. Bashir Jamo, the Managing Director of the NPA Ms. Hadiza Bala Usman, joined the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Barrister Hassan Bello, in his office in Apapa, the Rector Man Oron, Commodore Emmanuel Dujai Fedwa, and the MD NIWA, Dr. George Mugalu, joined via Zoom. At the end of the meeting, which lasted about an hour, first to speak to the press was the Managing Director of the NPA.
The purpose of this meeting is to improve synergy between the agencies of government in the maritime industry. We've noted that our operations need to have the improved synergy as required. We have various aspects of overlapping functions that we feel the CEOs are the ones that will be able to put heads together to address those areas of overlaps. We have several initiatives that both agencies have, all agencies have, and those initiatives need to be shared amongst ourselves for us to have improved operational opportunities within the maritime industry.
On his part, Dr. Jamo noted that better collaboration will translate to catalyzed growth for the maritime sector.
With this synergy, we will be able to develop strong working team, effective enforcement of our own mandate, as well as having a formidable team without necessarily going to the Federal Ministry of Transportation. So on behalf of the entire team, I think I would like to appreciate your presence, the press, and appreciate our own supervising ministry for giving us this enabling environments to operate together.
The chief host of the meeting, Barrister Hassan Bello, also had this to say.
There are a lot of things that we are doing differently, and if we come together, this will mean effective delivery of programs. I'm extremely happy. This is what we have been craving for. We have been cooperating with one another, of course, but this is the institutionalization, of that collaboration, and synergy will make sure that we achieve all we set out to do.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA, changing the tides in your favor.
The Nigerian Ship Registry, domiciled with the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, has the following ship registers: a register for merchant vessels, a register for fishing vessels, a register for ships under construction, a register for vessels under 15 gross tons, and a register for floating, production storage, offloading, FPSO, and the floating storage offloading FSO platforms. Other registers maintained by NIMASA include a register for vessels under bareboat charter or other arrangements of not less than 12 months, and a register for all vessels undertaking cabotage operations in Nigeria.
The collaboration between NIMASA and the Nigerian Navy is waxing stronger by the day. Oh, let me quickly sound this as a note of warning to vessels who usually will be tampering with their automatic identification system, also known as the AIS. No time for that anymore, because the long arm of the law will definitely catch you. Let's take you to the central zonal operation of NIMASA, precisely Warri, Delta State, where the Nigerian Navy had arrested a Nigerian flagged motor vessel, MV Gulf Eagle. NNS Bomadi arrested the vessel for suspected AIS manipulation around Ramos River entrance. The vessel had about 120,000 liters of product suspected to be AGO, popularly called diesel oil, and 10 persons on board. On the authority of the Chief of Naval Staff, NNS Delta has handed over the vessel to NIMASA for further investigation and possible prosecution. So, as I told you earlier, it's no longer business as usual, because illegalities will no longer be permitted on our waterways. Let's now bring you back to Lagos, where the NIMASA management played host to a fact-finding team on the Maritime Security Transit Corridor. The team from the Nigerian Navy was led by Commodore Ayebino.
Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, says the proposed Maritime Security Transit Corridor, MSTC, proposed to assist in solving Nigeria's maritime security challenges, offers huge benefits, but it must be properly thought through before application in Nigeria. Jamo stated this in Lagos when the Nigerian Fact-Finding Committee on the MSTC model visited the NIMASA headquarters. He said the model should be studied carefully with the stakeholders in order to be on the same page and avoid pitfalls.
Every country and armed security personnel, they have their own characteristics. What may be applicable to British waters may not be applicable to Nigerian waters. So if the Nigerian water is peculiar and the means of addressing the insecurity in Nigerian waters is to introduce 3 zones, then we have to look at the advantages and disadvantages of that. And if the British one, they think that the trade transit corridor is the best, then we look also at the opportunities there, then we will now balance it out.
Dr. Jama pointed out that Nigeria should also give consideration to how MSTC would affect international protocols and agreements that she is signatory to. He said the fine details of the model, including insurance regimes and infusion into the Deep Blue project, which Nigeria is currently deploying to tackle maritime insecurity, must be explained and examined carefully.
You must develop policies, and those policies must address each sector. If you take fishing industry, you have to develop policies that will align with the trade corridor. If you talk about infrastructure, you have to define the infrastructures, where you should define the infrastructures, the funding of the infrastructure. Those things also are quite germane.
Earlier in his comments, Ayabina stated that the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Iboite Ibas, set up the committee to meet with stakeholders in the maritime sector on the workability of the MSTC model. He said the committee had visited the Nigerian Ports Authority, NPA, and the Nigerian Shippers Council for their perspectives on the MSTC.
This maritime transit corridor is also a new initiative which requires money, assets and personnel and all that. And when we look at, because we have taken a look at our maritime environment, maybe the transit corridor in which ships are supposed to come into our ports, eastern ports and western ports. And if we have to place transit corridor, of course, it's not just going to be one. It's not just going to be one transit corridor, because that corridor will have to go to the east, it also have to go to the west. And you need assets and place assets along these routes.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA, changing the tides in your favor.
Coronavirus pandemic may be wreaking havoc in various sectors in the world. It still doesn't stop this good news we're about to share with you. Yes, a new record has been set because the world's largest container vessel just undertook the first set of voyages. This is the first in the world. Good news, right?
The AL Algeciras is the most recent vessel to hold the title of world's largest container ship. At maximum capacity, the ship carries 23,964 20-foot containers, which is slightly more than its predecessor, MSC Gulson, which has capacity for 23,756 20-feet containers. During her maiden voyage, HMM Algeciras had 19,621 TEU on board, which was itself a record number. Completed at Daewoo Shipping and Marine Engineers Okwo Shipyard on 24th April this year. She is 400 meters long and 61 meters wide. The vessel has been to Rotterdam in Holland. This was when it made that entry into Rotterdam. Algeciras has also berthed in Antwerp, Belgium. This magnificent man-made beauty has also been to London Gateway, Essex, in England, and someday we hope it will come to Apapa in Nigeria.
Accidents do happen in the maritime sector. Just like this one you're watching now. The man climbing down what is called the Jacob ladder. Just watch him coming down gently. And just when he thinks he has concluded the journey, this happens. Now, Let's go over to the USA, where a naval ship caught fire after an explosion had been heard. This happened while the ship was out there in the dock. Investigations are ongoing to find out what happened. Now, what about the one that happened in Warri, Delta State? And this was on board the MT Matrix Pride. NIMASA is still investigating to find out what caused that particular accident. At this point, we will be presenting to you the processes, inquiries, and investigations have to pass through as concerning shipping accidents here in Nigeria, as contained in the Nigerian Merchant Shipping Act.
Accidents are part of life, and they also occur in the maritime sector. To ensure that accidents are well investigated with the aim of preventing such occurrence in future, the Merchant Shipping Act provides for NIMASA to investigate and inquire into shipping casualties in Nigerian waters. When accidents occur, NIMASA, on the authority of the Honorable Minister of Transportation, appoints an inspector to undertake a preliminary inquiry immediately after the incident. The inspector usually visits the site of accident, board the vessel if need be, and interrogate officers on board and all those present during the unfortunate occurrence. The inspector is expected to submit a preliminary report within 14 days to the agency. The Minister of Transportation may from time to time constitute a marine board, having a magistrate as president and at least one nautical engineer or special skilled marine expert to make formal investigation into charges of incompetence or misconduct on the part of any officer of a ship. The Marine Board may cancel or suspend the certificate of any officer of a Nigerian ship if the Marine Board finds that the officer is guilty of incompetence, gross misconduct, drunkenness, or if any life was caused by the officer's wrongful act.
Now, I want to believe that we all understand better the processes involved in investigating accidents in ships. And now it brings me to this sad one that happened recently. There was one of such accidents in Escravos, and it involved a ship-to-ship transfer. 2 seafarers were injured. I have here the tweet from the DG NIMASA in response to that and some of the other things that happened. Absolutely gutted to receive the news of the passing of one of the seafarers involved in this week's marine accident at Escravos. I want to personally, and on behalf of NIMASA, extend our condolences to his family and loved ones, even as we continue investigations. Our commitment to seafarers will not wane. We will not just pay lip service to their safety. This Escravos episode will be investigated. There are lots of laxities that shouldn't be allowed to continue unchallenged. Seafarers are key workers and should be protected.
The agency also made it mandatory for employers of seafarers in Nigeria to provide personnel protective equipment, including face masks for seafarers in their employ. All these were in sync with guidelines issued by the International Maritime Organization and the Nigerian Center for Disease and Control (NCDC). NIMASA also extended the validity of mandatory and safety certificates and certificates of medical fitness for the seafarers, with the extension applying to seafarers on all Nigerian flagged vessels and seafarers with Nigerian certificates of competency who are sailing on foreign flagships. The seafarers, whether the crew members be an officer, master, captain, or able-bodied seaman, everyone plays a virtually important role in our day-to-day life. The worldwide population of seafarers serving on internationally trading merchant ships is estimated at 1,647,500 seafarers, of which 774,000 are officers and 873,500 are ratings. Nigeria has a total of 8,714 seafarers on the registry with NIMASA, under the supervision of the Federal Ministry of Transportation, made up of 7,213 seafarers, while 1,501 are cadets still in training. The Nigerian Seafarers Development Program, NSDP, is another project introduced by NIMASA as a measure to ensure Nigeria contributes significantly to the seafaring industry. So far, slightly over 2,000 young Nigerians have benefited from the project. while 1,602 are male, 304 of them are females. Nigeria now has marine engineers, naval architects, and nautical scientists from the NSDP. The current management of NIMASA has identified sea time birth as a major challenge to the NSDP. So far, about 1,500 have undergone sea time training, while about 500 of them are on the waiting list, mainly due to the challenges COVID-19 came with. To ensure that Nigerian seafarers are given priority over their foreign counterparts, NIMASA has made it mandatory for all vessels conducting cabotage trade in Nigeria to be wholly manned by Nigerians, with an exception of when such skills are not available in the country. All these initiatives from NIMASA, including but not limited to dispute resolution between seafarers and their employers by NIMASA, has made industry players applaud the management of the agency. NIMASA truly notes that seafarers are key workers.
Do you know who a seafarer is? Seafarers are the people who make the world go round. Seafarers are people who have been employed to work on the ships. They ensure smooth sailing of the ship while making sure that goods and services get to us from every part of the world. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, this set of people are still working for the benefit of everyone. Wow! Let us celebrate these special people, as they are the people who truly make the world go round. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA.
Introducing the new face of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. We are charting the direction for a maritime and regulating the industry for a better, bigger, and more economically stable Nigeria. Evolved to serve you better. We are NIMASA. New face, rejuvenated service. NIMASA, changing the tides in your favor.
Thank you very much for being a part of the program. You could follow Bashir Jamal on social media also. You saw the tweets handle there. You could also follow NIMASA on all her social media handles: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. They are all at NIMASA Official. At NIMASA Official. My name is Cordelia Obey, and I would always say, please stay safe, protect yourself, and do the right thing. Bye-bye.
This is NTA International.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water